Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for watching, and today I'm not in the great outdoors. I've come indoors to do a question and answers video to explain to you a little bit more about why I started here on YouTube and also answer some of your questions. A little bit behind why I started this channel. I spent quite some time travelling the world, all four corners, and whenever I returned to the UK I realised how little I had seen of my land. And I guess I decided to set this channel up and to make these videos because I wanted to visit places that are a little bit closer to home, and I love being out in the wilderness as well. So that's a little bit behind why I set this channel up. I'm going to answer some of your questions now that have been asked on YouTube, Instagram and Twitter. Corcarita asked me, have I ever walked a long distance footpath in the UK and did I enjoy it? Yes, I have. I'm a little bit ashamed to say that I've only actually walked one. There are hundreds, if not thousands. The one that I completed was the West Highland Way in Scotland. It's 96 miles from Glasgow in the lowlands up to Fort William in the Highlands, which is where Ben Nevis is. In that picture there, that is the mountain Ben Nevis, the tallest mountain in Britain. And I did it with a friend. I took 8 days to complete it and it was absolutely epic. It is often some of the best memories when I think about my walking memories. It's some of the best days that I had on the West Highland Way. I would definitely go back and do it again, but there are a lot of other long distance footpaths that I would like to see and complete in the UK. Mark R has asked, are there any pub walks that I can recommend? Well, where do I start? There are over 50,000 pubs here in the UK and you're never that far from a pub, but I do think that some of the best country pubs are here where I live in Kent, and one that I can recommend particularly is the Plough Inn at Stallisfield Green, and it is really beautiful. Check it out online. I'll put a link in the description below. It does amazing food, and then surrounding the pub you've got beautiful countryside, the Kent Downs area of outstanding national beauty to explore, and it's just perfect. The Travelling Clat and Andy Gray both asked me the same question, what is my favourite walk? And I would have to say that it was the walk on the West Highland Way from Glencoe to Kinlochleven. Now, part of this walk, we had to walk over the Devil's Staircase, and we didn't know much about this at the time, but we set off in the morning from where we were staying, which was the Glencoe Mountain Resort in a nice little glamping pod sort of setup. We walked down, a friend and I walked down to this hotel called the King's House Hotel, which is where most of the other people were staying that were completing the West Highland Way. So by the time we arrived at the King's House Hotel, we were soaked wet through. The weather was awful, gales and just torrential rain. And so we decided to stop there to have a cup of tea and just assess the situation. So I decided to ask the waitress if everybody else that was walking that day had left the hotel. And she said, yeah, they've gone, they've left. So my friend and I decided, well, we need to carry on. After we had our tea, we left the hotel and just carried on with the walk. We approached the Devil's Staircase, which is an 800-foot climb over the course of a mile, and it was grueling. It was horrible. It was, in hindsight, exciting and exhilarating, but at the time it was very difficult. It was windy and, you know, you got rain in your eyes, dripping down your face. And it was quite challenging. When we got to the top of it, you really had to hold yourself against the rocks to make sure that you weren't going to be blown away. When we got to the hostel, and also the next day when we met the people that were staying at the King's House Hotel, we asked them, how did you find the walk? Was it difficult for you? Did you get blown off the mountain like we did? And they said, no, we didn't go on the walk. The mountain rescue came round in the morning when everybody was having breakfast and told them not to go on the walk because it was too dangerous, and said that there's a bus that you can get to Kinlochleven. But we didn't know that. We were staying somewhere else and we did the walk, and yeah, we lived to tell the tale, but it could have been a very different story. We might have been rescued by mountain rescue. Next question. James Vaught asks me, how do I select maps and are they being made obsolete by mobile devices? So to answer the first part of your question, I always use Ordnance survey maps. They don't pay me to say that, but I do believe that they are the best quality maps. They come in a couple of different types, but mainly an orange Explorer map and a pink Land Ranger map. So the orange map is good for walking, short distance cycling, even kayaking you can use it for. The scale of these maps is 1 to 25,000, which means that for every 4 centimetres on the map, you're covering a kilometre on the ground. The pink maps are good if you're driving or doing sort of road biking, and they are scale 1 to 50,000, which means that for every 2 centimetres on the map, there's a kilometre. So there's not as much detail, but these are definitely the best types of maps. I always use the orange ones. These ones also come in an active map, which you can see here. So they cover it in a bit of plastic for you. They last a bit longer, and also if it's raining, it just runs straight off. I firmly believe that there will be no substitute for paper maps. They don't run out of Wi-Fi, they don't run out of battery. You can use them all the time, and it's just much nicer to hold a map, don't you think? To hold and stroke a map. I love maps. So yeah, definitely don't think that they're gonna be phased out by technology. Also, James, just to mention that I will put a link below for the Ordnance Survey website, and you can get all your maps online before you travel to the UK, because I know that you've got a trip coming up soon. So I hope you have a fantastic time. Once again, do ask me any more questions if I can help with your trip, and any advice about maps. Another James has asked, when am I going to walk somewhere other than the southeast of England? And that is a very good question. If you look at a lot of my videos recently, they do tend to be around Kent. The only way really of me explaining that is that I live in Kent. This YouTube channel is like a hobby for me. I haven't got enough money to go out and make a video in all corners of the British Isles every single day. So I'm doing what I can when I have the chance. I have a full-time job. I organise walks. I'll put a link in the description below. When am I going to venture further afield? It's a valid question, and I will be venturing other places soon. You just need to watch this space. The final question of my question answers video is from Cal Brown, and he asks, how was your wild camping experience in Scotland, and would you do it again? And for those of you who don't know that I have wild camped in Scotland, I'll put the link to my video down in the description. You should check it out. It was an incredible experience. I wild camped in the Cairngorms National Park, and it was beautiful. It was epic. I was next to a loch and there was nobody else around, and it was a very memorable experience. However, there was like a slight incident, or not really an incident, but a memory in the evening of becoming a little bit scared when I heard something outside my tent. And I found out that in the morning it was actually just a bit of my tent that had started to flap against another part. But I think in the evening you kind of build up these images of something being outside your tent and it being scary. The beautiful thing about wild camping is that you are in the wilderness completely by yourself quite often, and that you just have to immerse yourself in nature, and that's part of wild camping really. Would I do it again? Yes, I would. You can't wild camp in as many areas in England as you can in Scotland. So Dartmoor, for example, you can go wild camping on, but otherwise, you know, there's not as much scope for wild camping in England. So I will be doing it soon, I think, but I might need to return to Scotland to do a bit more wild camping. So that is it. That is the end of my question and answers video. It's the first Q&A video that I've done, and I've really enjoyed it, and I hope you have too. If you have, please click the like button and comment down below. Subscribe, click on the subscribe button too, as that really helps. And I will see you on another adventure soon, out there, out in the great outdoors.